Hey guys, welcome to another Blueprint Masterclass. I'm Krispy, and today I'll be doing the full masterclass guide on the Thrower Smash strategy, the new troop that got released with Town Hall 17. So, throughout this masterclass, I'll be covering this strategy in forms of different chapters. So, first of all, I'll be explaining the army, the strategy itself, and give its basics. Second of all, I'll be analyzing different base styles like diamonds, anti-two ring bases, box bases, just to give my thought process and how the strategy works on certain bases. And finally, I'll be concluding the masterclass with some Legends League attacks where I can give you my live and real time thinking so you can understand how I adjust in case things go wrong. So, without further ado, let's get started. So, first of all, the Thrower Smash strategy is a smash strategy that involves a Warren Walk with healers to set some pathing, followed up by the Thrower troops, heroes, and a siege to create a funnel or grab value. So let's take a look at the army here to understand what every troop does and why is it there in this army.
You used to stop this world from spinning. Like Superman, you were the only one to find the strength in all that I was dealing with this life, like kryptonite. And if you keep me close, every minute in this hourglass, you hold.
So let's start off by the start. So we have here one barbarian that is used mainly to check for any traps where you're gonna warden walk, or check for any traps for your flame flinger if you end up using one, or if you want to tank a mortar for your flame flinger, that can also be possible with the barbarian. So it's a very flexible troop to have and very nice, especially so you don't get baited and lose your warden right away. Secondly, the archers, they can basically serve the same purpose as the barbarian here, but the only difference is you can also use for cleanup because they can stay out of range of defenses, so that's why I have two of them. The sneaky goblins, I have them because this strategy tends to be a little slow, so you need some cleanup, and the perfect cleanup for this is the sneaky goblins. And not also that they clean up, but they can also funnel, which is very great so your throwers don't end up walking outside. Wall breakers are there to open up the compartments. Balloons are there to check for any air traps. Wizards are there for cleanup. The healers are there because it's the main source of healing for your smash strategy. And the baby dragon is there for cleanup or setting the funnel, mostly used for setting the funnel. The throwers, however, is the main core of your army here. So the thrower troop is a troop that has the warden range, and it can basically allow you to have another super troop since it's not a super troop. That's why I have the sneaky goblin. So that's why I really like this strategy because in other smash strategies like the super bowlers or the super witches, you will end up having to use a super slot for that. And for this one, you don't need to waste one. You can just have one for the sneaky goblins and the super wall breakers, which is really nice. Next up, we have the ice golems. They're usually sent with the main pack, so they can tank the first bit of damage and also freeze up any important defenses. Headhunters are there to kill the heroes, and the apprentice warden is there to boost your thrower HP because the throwers are not very tanky, so they can die very easily from stuff like fire spitters or scatter shots. So it's better to have a mini warden to have the tanking there. As for the spells, we have the rages, which helps with the main push. It can rage your healers so you can save your throwers from dying. The jump is to open up the core, but I'm going to show later the equipment, which means the jump is going to be used early here. The freezes are used like it's a flexible spell, and the skeleton spell, I use it mostly for tanking like monolith, single infernos. I can even sometimes use it to tank mortars for my flame flinger if there's a lot of things around it, which makes it a little bit harder to tank with the barbarian and archers. And for the CC, I take triple Yetis and a Barbarian simply just because I have a blimp in my CC in case I end up using the blimp. The Yetis are always useful, but it's very rare that I use the blimp. It's usually the siege machines, which I'm going to get to right now, the ones that I use the most. So if we look here, the ones that I have trained is the siege barracks and the flame flinger. Now the one that I use most of the time is the siege barracks, and if I find good flinger value, I end up using the flame flinger instead. But most of the time, it's siege barracks. Now for the CC, I have for the sieges here a blimp and a log launcher. I never really used those just because the two other sieges just work basically on every single base. So I only have them there in case I find like a rare base that doesn't end up having value for those two sieges that I've just spoken about. And for the spells in CC, I take a Rage and a Poison. Now the Poison we're gonna have to very careful with, because the Thrower is a single targeting troop. So any CC troops coming out will end up affecting your throwers. So you're gonna need to delay the poison. Let's say if it's a mass archer CC, you're gonna need to wait a little bit just to verify if it's full archers or if it's just some archers coming out and then some ice columns. So it's very important to use the poison well, or else the throwers will get stuck in the core and the defenses will eat up on your throwers. So let's take a look at the heroes here. For the king, I'm running the Phoenix simply because it's the best for him, and the Phoenix can also tank traps in the core once the king dies. And for the equipment, I'm running Spiky Ball and Earthquake Boots on the king here, which means that I have the jump here to open up after the wall breakers. So the wall breakers open up the first layers. The jump, it opens up just the compartment right after the wall breaks. And I try to save my king ability for as much as possible to open up the back end and for the Spiky Ball to have great value inside the core. For the queen here, I'm running Frosty and Healer, Puppet, and Magic Mirror. So this is the best combo. I usually send her inside the base with this strategy just because the throwers need a little bit of support just because they might die. So the queen here, first of all, she provides a lot of DPS, and when she uses the healer puppet, let's say you lose your healers to a bait or something, at least you have 3 backup healers to heal up your throwers so they don't all disappear inside the core. Now for the Warden Walk, I use a lizard just to make it a little bit faster. You can use other pets, but I really like the lizard just because it saves time. Again, this troop is very slow, so you're gonna have to try and clean up fast and stuff like that. So that's why I use the lizard here. It just saves a couple seconds. And for the equipment on the Warden, I use the Eternal Tome and the Rage Gem, simply because the Rage Gem provides that extra DPS, and I have the Mini Warden for the extra HP boost, so I don't really need another equipment for that. And as we can look here for the RC, I have the Fox, which is the default, and Spear Shield. Now, the reason I run Spear Shield and not something like Spear Hogs, for example, is because if I end up using the Flame Flinger, the the RC is basically not going to be coming behind the Siege Barrack troops, so having the Hogs there might be a waste. And the shield is overall more flexible and more clutch. I end up using her wherever is needed, basically on the base. Whereas, for example, Spear Hogs, you would need to send her with the Siege Barracks and pop the Hogs like midway so she doesn't end up dying. So let's talk about the strength and weaknesses of this army real quick. So let's start by the strength. So first of all, as this troop is not a super troop, it allows you to have a second super troop in your army, which like previously mentioned, I like having the sneaky goblins here just to speed things up since it slows down near the end. Second of all, it's a low housing space troop. It takes up 16 housing space, so you can have a lot of them. Here I have only 7, but I think it's fine. I see people take 8, but I prefer 7 just to have more housing space for support troops. And thirdly, the troop has the warden range, so it can basically shoot buildings very far over walls, which can be very beneficial for you, so you don't end up being stuck in the middle of the base with like defenses on each side shooting your throwers. Now, for the couple weaknesses, we have that it's single targeting, so basically CC like witches or archers, if like you don't deploy the poison very well, they might end up slowing down your troops in the core, since they will take a very long time to take them down, since they will be shooting one skeleton or archer at a time. And the second weakness is that if you don't funnel correctly, since they have very big range, they might end up going on the outside, since they see like buildings that are closer to your
The phenomenon keeps going on, and the melody of my escape, vibration of my soul, it sends me to the peak. Without no regret, you got no love. Without no love, you got no regret. Without no regret, you got no love. A melody where I belong.
closer to them than the inside of the base, so make sure to funnel well or else they will walk outside. Now let's get through the base analysis. So let's start off here by tackling an anti-2 ring base, which can be commonly found in Legends League or worse. So for the basics of any smash strategy, you always want to set a funnel with your Warden Walk on one side and the Siege Machine on the other side, or if you're not planning on using the siege machine for the other side, at least a hero to set the funnel there so that the smash troops can all go inside the base and follow one path so your healers don't split and end up healing the entire pack. So the most important thing here is funneling. And as you can see, as this is a ring base, we have basically four approaches we can take to it, as this is like a symmetrical ring base. So if we look here, let me just pull out the pencil. So we can either go into this side, this side, this side, or this side. Now let's break down each side here, starting by the mono side. So if we end up going on this side, it might be a little bit hard to funnel, especially going into that dead zone. So your troops might end up going to the outside here, especially that the thrower troops are very long range troops. So they might just snipe off like the couple buildings here and then go on like to walk on the outside. If we go on this side, we're going to be tackling the Rage Tower first, which means we're going to be leaving a Rage Tower for the end, which can be very harmful, same as the other side, as this base is symmetrical. So I think the best side to approach this base is coming from here. Now, how I started this is I started with a Warnwalk on this side just to clear this corner out. And by clearing this corner out, this means I need to clear out the corner at 6 here to make sure everything goes inside. So with my Warden Walk being deployed here, I have a Siege Barracks to clear out the other side. Now, for the Siege Barracks to actually clear this side, I'll have to wall break this area right here and then deploy a Barbarian just so I can basically distract this mortar. If I place the Siege Barracks directly, the mortar or the Archer Tower might go for the Siege Barracks instantly, and I don't want that to happen, so I tank with the Barbarian in this case, or an Archer if you want. And as soon as I deploy it, the funnel here will be set. So the Wernwalk usually takes around 30 seconds. You don't want the Wernwalk to pass a minute. I think the minute is the benchmark here, because if you go past 1 minute, it may be very sketchy to triple without time failing here. So after your Wernwalk is done here, you're gonna set the funnel with the Siege Barracks and wall break here, so that the main pack can access the base. And as I said, we want to jump early and save the spiky ball as much as possible. So I jump here, but I also tank with a Skelly spell in this area so that the heroes all like group up in one place and don't split. So after the Warlock is done and the Siege Break funnel is set, I send in the throwers and my heroes to go inside the base. And let's just take a look here at the replay real quick. So as I mentioned, I started off here with a Warlock. I wall broke just to prepare that for the Siege Breaks and the main pack here. Now I'm just being patient with my Wardenwalk. Now the Lizard is very nice because it can also kill heroes, just like here it killed the RC. And as you can see, it finished the Wardenwalk very rapidly. So then I put the Skelly spell here just to group up all the heroes. And as I said, I put the Siege Barracks at 6 to clear out that corner here. As you can see, I put the Barbarian also down to tank that mortar. Now, after I look at the Siege Break and I see that the funnel is starting to get set, I drop the jump spell simply because I don't need to wall break in this layer. Because even if I wall break, the other layer here is gonna be not accessible, so I'll need to jump either way. And basically, after putting the jump, I put down the 2 ice golems just to offer my troops some tanking first, and then I put the throwers down, all of them in the main group. Now you always want to stack them. You don't want to split them, because if you split them, the healers might not know which group to heal and end up healing the wrong group. So you always want them to stack just so that everything gets the healing. And then afterwards, you put the king, the queen, and the mini warden. And very important, I see a lot of people miss this. The Coco Loons, you always want to send them in, because you might lose your healers early. Let's say there's a pack of red bombs here. You don't want that to happen. And even during the Warden Walk, I use usually one here just to check for any traps, because people sometimes set red bomb farms on the outside. So that's why I always put one here and leave the 2 for the main push here.
Fire burns as the feeling starts. I put a wall around my heart, but you're breaking it down. It falls to the ground, 'cause I have lost what you just found. The noise all around, I'm drowning it out, like we're the only ones in the crowd. 'Cause you save me now, save me now, save me now, save me now, save me now.
So here I put a headhunter just to kill this queen and make sure everything goes inside. And as you can see, I'm just raging everything, as this is basically done in every smash attack. So after merging in, you want to put your rages to catch your troops, but also catch your healers. Now, since the healers are like always going to stay back, since these troops are very long ranged, you can't really put the rage just like super witches like behind them. You always want to rage ahead, simply just because the throwers, if not, are not going to take any damage boost or anything. So here, as you can see, I'm just raging, and it's important here. The warden ability timing is very important in this strategy. You always want to save the king here, just so you can use the spiky ball and the earthquake boots later, as they can take out a huge chunk of the base. So what I do here, since basically a rage tower has popped here on the right side, and the left one is about to pop as well, and with the CC coming out, my king was about to die, so I just rage everything and I pop the warden ability. Now, I'm just very patient here with my spells and the king ability, and as you can see, as soon as I saw the Eternal Tome was about to expire, I used the Spiky Ball and the Earthquake Boots, and as you can see, it created a lot of madness here. It destroyed basically a lot of buildings, which can be super nice, and I'm just freezing the rest here, since basically there's not much base left. There's only a couple raged defenses remaining, and I don't want my troops to die, for example with the Raged Ricochet and the Fire Spitters. So I'm just raging through everything, and I'm about to use shortly the magic mirror with my healer puppet, so that my queen doesn't end up dying here in the core, and also the healers can provide that extra healing for your troops. So it's very important to do that in the core and not delay it till everything is dead. And as you can see, everything is pushing through, and I'm using my freezes here basically whenever is needed. So here on the ricochet was very important, so I don't lose my mirrors or the throwers. And as you can see, I told you guys at the start that my RC is basically a joker. I use her wherever is needed. So here I found that the best spot to put her is in here, simply because I saw that my my pack of troops here is going to this side more and not like up there. So let's say I had the spear and hogs. I would usually send it with the siege breaks. My RC would join in here, which would make the taking the top side here very difficult, simply because everything is gonna end there and not take it down. So that's why I have the shield and the spear, so that the RC can just snipe things out of range and take them down very safely. So as you can see here, the troops are all headed down, but the shield and the spear are gonna be able to take down this multi-archer tower, which was causing problems, and the fire spitter, which was basically taking down my mirrors and the healers. And as you can see, the hit got pretty close, and the reason why is because throwers are usually not great versus very compact bases. Now here I um I took a very compact base on purpose, simply because I wanted to show how like close it can get with those types of bases. But on every other base where like it's double poison or double rage but spread out, these troops work very well, simply because it is a single targeting troop. So if you tackle everything at once, they're gonna be throwing the spears all at the same time at one defense at a time. So it can be very slow to take them down, which is why it works better on other types of bases. But here, as you can see, it still ended up working. I still have my RC, a thrower, and the CC from my siege barracks coming out to help. Now the Yetis, they're not very useful out of the siege barracks. So if you're planning to use the siege barracks all the time, you can probably take something else like super minions. But me, I really find them useful, just because the Yeti mites can be very clutch at the end, especially if you want to take down like a big defense, like a multi archer tower, for example, that is sitting at the end. And it can also provide tanking. Let's say if you end up sending your RC from here, and there was like a defenses over here, then it would provide that necessary tanking for your RC to go in safely. So overall, I like the Yetis. And since the CC is now 55 housing space, I like that we have 3 Yetis instead of 2, so that's definitely a plus for me over the super minions. Let's go on to the next.